What's going on, everybody out there? It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional, Soul Brother #1, reporting for duty. And this is a New Yorker's perspective. I think I said that already. And we got the National Grand Sheik Cozmo L in the building, United Moorish Science Temple of America. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Super chat. I said it on the last podcast. I'm going to say it on every single podcast just to get it, just so it gets through. This is a media outlet, right? So we're building this podcast to then eventually become a media company. Well, we are a media company. NYP is a media company for our people. We created this to create more of a balance in the internet space, because we notice there's not much of a balance. There's a lot of buffoonery out there, so we're coming with the balance. So that's the whole purpose of it. Help us build. Send us super chat. Also, we have NYP Talk Show Cash App, NYP Talk Show Cash App, super chat, NYP Talk Show Cash App, Cash App. Anyway, thank you, Angelo. Okay, peace, Angelo. Joseph, I really appreciate you. See, brothers and sisters, I really didn't understand this game, this media thing. I was like, you know what? Maybe they'll just, notice what we're doing and send us some money. You don't have to ask. No, you gotta tell people. All right. Thank you, brother Angelo Joseph, National Grand Sheik in the building. Before we go into it, oh, who's that? We got a special guest today. His name is Mikey Fever.
This guy's terrible. Peace, Cosmo. Peace to the fans and listeners, man. You've been busy. Listen, outside of this, we have jobs.
Full time.
And they are demanding.
Yep. And children. Yes. So national, before we go into it, United Moorish Science Temple of America. What is that? What is that exactly?
Islam. So the United Moorish Science Temple of America is a collection of non-sectarian temples. If you go to prophetnoblejewali.org, you'll see the various temples involved in that project. And it pretty much represents the grand body that I represent. When I say National Grand Sheik, some people tend to think that means over all the temples, and that's not the case. There are various grand bodies, and so we function with the United Moorish Science Temple of America. And again, all our bios are up there, all our national officers, and so that's what that is. And for those that want to say, well, where did you get United from? Why not just Moorish Science Temple of America? As you were stating earlier, there's a lot of buffoonery, there's a lot of disrespect, a lot of disunity. And so in the Holy Quran, chapter 47, Holy Instruction 12, it speaks of Noble Drew Ali being the founder of the uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America, meaning that in his foresight, he saw that there needed to be a uniting of the temples. And so we draw our program from that key. And, irrespective of what anyone else is doing, we're non-sectarian. We work with all temples, all bodies, and in the spirit of unity, which is pretty much universally agreed upon in the movement today, that we need unity.
Yes, sir. Okay, so I want to go. I said it'll be best to just finish off right here with the functions of the temple, because I think we did 2 already. So the third one, I think that'll clear it all up, and then we can move on to other subjects. So now, you explain how the temples function. They're different temples. All temples are not the same. There's a grand body. I want to talk about what happens in, I think this month. Is it this month, right? At Chicago. And right now, off the top of my head, I just forgot. But what is it called? It's like a national meeting.
Convention.
The convention. So, during this convention, This is like, from what I understand, only certain people are allowed to go to this convention, sheiks.
Mhm.
So, what is the purpose of this convention, and why only sheiks are allowed?
Yeah, so you have again, because there are different bodies, uh, you have different times of convention. You have some in September, you have some in November, and you even have some in December. Um, in the Khalifa, we have ours in November. It's not to replace the Chicago convention, but there's more of a statewide convention. However, it has seemed to, in recent days, merge with the uniting movement. So you have representation from other states as well in that same spirit. But the convention is a meeting where various meetings and various conferences take place. It's a show of unity. It's a migration, so to speak, to Chicago. There's also, again, other conventions in other regions. And what it is when the sheiks get together, grand sheiks, sheiks, and other officers come together and create policy and make law for the year going forth, which is going to affect all those under that body. And then there are also the ADAPT chambers open for those who wish to go through the ADAPT chamber, which we talked about on previous show. And there's also celebrations of the legacy of the prophet. So it's going to look different, different years. It's going to look different in different regions. But one thing that's universal is laws being created and enforced, and that's going to affect going forward the whole year everyone that's under those particular bodies.
Okay, so where in November, and why November?
For
Khalifa.
Khalifa,
Yeah.
well, to be honest, the whole Khalifa Council came as a result of realizing that at the time that we formed it, which is a different time than it is now, there was a lot less unity, and there was a lot more going back and forth and bickering over who was who and what was what, a lot more division. And around that time, you had players that came from Chicago into California and helped establish temples and things of that nature. And as we began to work with those temples over a period of time, uh, divisions end up coming, and I don't want to rehash things, but over finances and other things, how stuff was going. And so there was just so much tension that California decided, well, look, we have our sheiks, we have our adepts that have been going to convention for years on end. Why don't we, since nationally, the Supreme Grand Council had broken up, and there it was like, who's in leadership now? What do we do? And we realized that if this much disarray could come about by one council, the Supreme Council, Supreme Grand Council, breaking up, then what we needed to do was more solidify our local and our state temples, so that if there was conflict and there was chaos nationally, that statewide we would still be able to function. If a federal or a national government falls, then the states shouldn't crumble. And that's what was happening. So we solidified, firmed up California. November was chosen because it was neither October or September. We didn't want to give the impression that we were trying to compete with anybody. Many of our people still go to Chicago for those conventions. It was just a statewide convention to offer those things that are offered in Mecca, in Chicago, to our people on the ground in California, and also to distance ourselves from a lot of the folly that was happening nationwide.
Makes perfect sense.
Perfect sense. Okay, so Khalifa, California, November, and you said you have brothers and sisters from the Khalifa demonstration going to the convention in September as well.
And October.
And October.
and even December, for those that have them. Thing is, we're non-sectarian. So that's the beauty of it. Like, you can be a part of your temple, you can demonstrate those, whatever they're demonstrating. And we're not going to be like, oh, you should go on this month, or oh, you should go on this month. Demonstrate whatever you demonstrate. But when we come together as a council, like the brother was talking about earlier on your show previous, federation, so to speak, we use the term council. It enables us to not be divided by our individual customs and traditions and the age-old argument of who's right and who's wrong, because there are pressing needs. Who's right and who's wrong on convention time isn't going to ensure that our people have land, have food, clothing, shelter, schools, and the things that are necessary for nations to be functioning nations, as opposed to just being the people, which is the definition of nation as well. But to actually be self-governing, and to be independent, you have to have all of those things in place, so you don't have to depend on anybody else for it. I mean, it's really just 1, 2, 3 common sense. So we decided to focus on business. We decided to focus on education. We decided to focus on land and do it collectively. We decided also to focus on homes for our elderly and charity, feeding the people. And we're doing all of this. And so each region is doing its thing. But when we come together in November and each region start enumerating and giving the report for what they're doing, boy, it's nationhood business, because you get to see everybody. Oh, you're doing this, you're doing it. So collectively as a nation, we're fulfilling all of those necessities. But it is about growth and development and getting to the point where we can import and export the successes that we have to whatever region needs them. But if the region doesn't need that program, it's no need to try to force that program, So it's really about working together and in unity. Right now, we have a temple in New York, Arizona, California, in California, Los Angeles, Oakland, here in Hawaii, Hagerstown, Maryland. And again, I mentioned last time through the newspaper, we work with the Moors in Syracuse, Grand Governor Joseph Young Bay, and his beautiful wife, Young Bay, and other Moors, Governor Howard Bay. And you'll see also that I toured Moorish Science Temple of America, Inc. Temple with brother Assistant Grand Sheik, National Assistant Grand Sheik of the Inc. Hopkins Bay.
Yeah.
So we're kind of an anomaly because of the relationships that we've established in being able to, connect with temples on what we can connect on and leave them to the customs and traditions that they're able to establish based on Chapter 47, Key 14, creating your own laws and customs, and Act 1, the Grand Sheik is empowered and chairman empowered to make law and enforce law. So it doesn't make sense for us to try to go enforce law on another temple when they have the power to create and enforce law. It doesn't make any sense for us to browbeat somebody about their customs when they have a right to create their own customs and usages, as long as it's in conjunction and can be traced back to what the prophet was doing, So that's pretty much how we move. And again, prophetnoblejuali.org. All of our bios are there, the creation, inception of each temple, and each officer is there. Everyone has history that goes back, some of us go back 30 years, some of us go back 3 or 4,
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now, oh man, I lost my train of thought. This is like really important. Pardon me. Let's go with this, Mike. Let's say Mike wants to join your temple in New York or under your lineage. Jurisdiction. Where would he join?
So if he wanted to join the temple in New York, and say if me and him were building, or if he went to prophetnoblejuali.org and said, hey, I want to I like what you all are doing, I want to get with what you all are doing, then we would see who's closest to him, where he's at. and then we would send him to that temple. If he was in New York, he would go to the New York temple. The information is up on the site. It's in Queens, Jamaica, Queens. However, sometimes we find ourselves where we don't have a temple that is so close. So then we give people the option, say, hey, you can either attend one of our Zoom temples, or we can link you up with the temple that we recommend that's in your area that's closest to you. And the reason we do it that way is because we don't recommend all temples. Not all temples are the same. Some temples are do have their issues. We've recommended temples before and people have come back, and then the blowback is on us. So we only recommend to people that we have relationships with, but they don't have to necessarily just be in our body in order to do that. Say, for example, there's a body in California, Temple 80 in Los Angeles, and they're under Kinu Bey's, that's their Supreme Grand Sheik. And I send people to them all the time if it fits with them and they're in that region, as opposed to being so hungry for members to try to pull everybody where we're at, and it just doesn't work logistically.
I have a question. Why would there be issues if people don't agree with what you're doing? Because it sounds like you guys doing a lot of community work and a lot of upliftment. Like, you're just not up there speaking all nice, and I don't know if you do. No, it's true. Like, are you dealing within your cipher, as they put it? Are you dealing within the law context or the spiritual, the religious aspect of Moorish science?
Yeah, well, it's all a spiritual battle. It's all about wickedness and high and low places. So, and they manifest in the form of people. Some people, a lot of the people that hate, I don't even know personally. Is it somebody that feels jilted based on the past or something? Maybe they weren't upright or whatever, and we cast them from our midst, and they couldn't handle that, and so now they're a hater, and they're going to go around and spread hate with everyone else. There are some temples that have history, have known to be involved in illegal activity, and it's just like a family. The good uncles, the bad uncles, the good aunties, the good the aunties that you don't want to leave your children with. Mm-hmm. However, the sheep know the sound of their shepherd's voice. So some people, it's fine with them, and they can, and that's what they do. So again, because some of us go back about 30 years and we know some of these histories, some people, there's generational curses where if you're not with this body, some person's way of recruiting is downing all the other bodies in order to get them into their temple. And so, there's those things. But again, that's why we decided to roll with the uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America to end those generational curses and say, hey, look, we're not hungry for your membership like that. If you like what we're doing, you can rock with us. But if you're from another temple, you got to get permission from your Grand Sheik, across the board, because we don't want to cause confusion and chaos across temple lines. If you're not with the temple, then you're more free to go ahead and join. And if for some reason you don't fit where we're at, we do have temples that we work with that aren't under the jurisdiction, but we work with in unity, that we can help send them to as well. So I don't want to go into the specifics, and I know you don't want me to go into the specifics of why, because that again creates the bad blood. I've done that in the past and have regretted that, because it makes it look like we're into that and we're not. So we just let it be known, buyer beware, and make sure you research what you're getting into.
Indeed. Now I want to ask, this was the question I wanted to ask. So Mufti, MIT, right? MIT, Divine Minister. Are they two separate paths? Or is it just one path? How's that go to get into the adept chamber?
So A mufti could be a divine minister. A divine minister could be a mufti. It's just more of knowing the member and knowing what their abilities are and what they're seeking. You know, some people may not even be seeking divine minister, but you'd be like, man, I see a divine minister in you. You know, why don't you check out this curriculum and see what it's about. Some people may come in, they already have a background in security. That's obviously they're going to make a natural chief mufti. They just need to learn our customs and usages on how to do it. The adapt chamber is general. You know, you have to understand that there's a difference between sheiks. Sheiks are trustee-like position, but then officers, they have an office that's administrative. And then adapts are their own thing as well. That means they're adapt in the knowledge. So you could be an adapt and not a sheik. You could be a sheik but not an officer. So it just depends on the path that one wants to take, and if they also listen to the advice of what someone in leadership sees in them. So there's a grooming, but it's based on the natural talents of the person. Like pretty much in any demonstration, you don't want to be putting apples over here with oranges and oranges with apples. You observe, you see the dedication, you see the faithfulness, you see the ability to articulate in one, you see the ability for one to be observant and to give reports, and you can know who's going to be your divine minister, who's going to be your mufti. When I came up, you know, everybody was considered a mufti, de facto, so to speak, because everybody, the prophet called on all members to protect the temple and to protect the prophet. So everyone in that general sense is responsible for that. But, you know, of course, in an official capacity as an officer, then, you know, that there is going to be some training there.
Okay. Now, what's the difference between the first off, the color of the fez? Okay. You have the burgundy, and then you have the red, the flaming red fez, and then you have the black fez. What are the differences?
Well, I'll tell you the difference between the red and black fez in general, right? Because there's really not too much of a difference between the red and the maroon other than custom. Some trace the red fez back to Noble Drew Ali because said he appeared in Chicago with the flaming red fez. So some say, hey, it should be flaming red and not maroon. But custom-wise, Moors have worn red and maroon. So that's another one of those things we don't let divide us, right? That's a thing of preference. And it's a thing of availability, you know. For a while, you couldn't really get flaming red fezzes, and the Freemasons had the monopoly on the fez industry because Moors weren't making them. I myself took it upon myself to learn how to make fezzes, and I started making fezzes for Moors. I created a company, Khalifa Fez Co., and I sold fezzes for years, handmade. They were made with the materials that I had used to and had access to, and they weren't exactly like the fez that came from the Masons. That's why we called them a Khalifa fez. But many satisfied customers. I just got to the point where it was too big. I couldn't continue making them, and I didn't want to begin to make inferior product, you know, so I put it on hold. So to answer your question, the black fez is usually the fez that you're going to see that's worn by the mufti, right? The muftis are the sergeant at arms, so to speak, lawgivers, governors, and that represents firmness, constancy, master of passions, justice, and desires. You know, these are the lessons that I was given decades ago when I was in preparation. And then the red fez represents righteousness and consciousness. And so the fez circle around the head represents finite knowledge, and the fez circle around the head represents infinite wisdom. The red fez are going to be more your ministers, your teachers, your ills a lot of time, and many times the beys, the governors, The law enforcers are going to wear the black fez. And so that's the basics of what that is. And again, it's all determined based on character.
Okay.
And natural ability.
Right.
I have a question. How about turbans? I see some of them tend to wear turbans. Is that the same
Turbans,
definition?
Islam. Turbans are also a tradition. You'll see Prophet Noble Ali wearing a turban as well with the feather. And so each color has its meaning. For example, white means purity, purity means God, God means ruler of the land. Red is still going to be righteousness and consciousness. It also represents the cherry tree or the Moorish flag as well. The original flag didn't have a star, that was placed on later. And so that fez is related to the cherry tree. There's some other symbolisms that have it related to the woman as well. And you could probably put that together, yourself. Green represents growth and is often worn by sheiks. Purple, which you'll see is the magistrate or lawgivers, and you'll see that in the Circle 7, Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. In chapter magistrate and subject, it speaks of, O thou who art clothed in purple, and referring to the magistrate. So, those are basics. There's layers of meaning. You can go deeper into these, but these are just the basics on the colors and pretty much the rank. There is a rank attached to it. If one knows this, sometimes you have people gleaning things from online. They don't know because they haven't been in the temple. They don't know the customs. They don't know the traditions. And so they might be wearing something that they may not know what it means. You ask them, hey, you know about this? And they won't know. So you really have to talk to people that are in the temple and have studied and actually know what it's about. And believe me, there's a lot of people out there right now that are more conscious, and they're gleaning what they can from online. But a lot of things they just don't know. I saw a video the other day of a guy trying to, tear me down or whatever. And he didn't even know that Prophet Noble Ali established the body politic. So, just make sure, again, buyer beware who you're talking to, and don't take my word for things. You'll notice I give references. Take those references and look them up so you can see I'm on point. That's our tradition, not to just say stuff and don't have any reference. It has to be traced back to our customs and traced back to the Prophet, the Quran, etc.
Indeed. Now I want to ask about. I have a few questions now. The tassel, should it be on the left side of the fez, or should it be on the right side of the fez, or should it be? How should the tassel be?
Well, you're asking all the questions today. Islam. So again, this goes to custom. Traditionally, it flows free. So the tassel can go, 360 because it represents 360 degrees of knowledge. However, some people have a custom of tying it to the right side as opposed to the left side. And why is that? Because to differentiate themselves from the Freemasons who tie their tassel down to the left side. So some Moors say, hey, we're going to do ours to the right. It can get a little cumbersome in your face and stuff like this. And when you're moving, blowing and all of that. But traditionally, it's 360. However, I do understand why one may have it to the right side to differentiate between those who tie it down to the left side, in essence saying we're revealers, not concealers. It's about understanding each other's customs as opposed to tearing each other's customs down, because something like that shouldn't be something that divides us from getting to the greater work. So we try to walk a middle path. We can't do it all the time, and we'll stand firm on what we need to stand firm on, but we definitely not petty about it.
And it also means that the tassel represents the umbilical cord as well to the universe.
Islam. So again, there's layers of meaning to this. The tassel being connected to the umbilical cord and the 12 circles on top of the fez represent universal law. Again, like I told you, red also have something to do with the woman or the bloodline. So there's as a matter of fact, on my YouTube, I have a couple of videos up there that go into the meaning of the fez, and I also have a book on Amazon, The Secrets of the Fez by Cosmo that goes into it a little further. For those that are interested in that, at Amazon.com. So again, even the fact that this strands represent the rays of the sun, but traditionally there's 144 of them, and so it also represents the coming together of the 144,000 uniting of Asiatics and angels. So there's a lot of symbolism that is connected to our national headdress, as it should be. And we could definitely go on talking for hours about it and unfolding its symbolism, even its origin, and the types of fezes that they have around the world. This isn't the most ancient style fez that there is. Even this tassel being related to the prince's lock in ancient Egypt. When you'll see the lock on the side of the head, and it's shaped exactly like the fez. So this goes back, and again, we could unfold it, but for those who want more knowledge, Secrets of the Fez, they could get that book.
All right, that's peace. Now, 5 on the left, 2 on the right, right?
Yes.
Well, how do you say it? Right, 2 on the right. I said it right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now.
Oh no, wait a minute. No, 5 on the right, 2 on the left. No, wait a minute. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. You got it.
Yeah, I got it right. So why the angle of your arms, is it supposed to be 90 degrees, like perfectly? And does your hand have to be shaped like this, and your finger like this, right? 90 degrees, perfect angles, facing the east, your heels together in that position. Is that custom?
Islam. Again, that's going to vary. What's universal is you are rising high on the 7. Some rise on the 7, some rise high on the 7. Some take it up like this, even further. It depends on the custom. I will point out that when you have them at the 90-degree angles like this, then you're dealing with the I believe it's the Ka symbol in ancient Egypt. You'll see the Ka symbol like this. So some may be moving in that science. Then you have some that bring it right here up to the head. And then you have those that extreme with it. They bring it up. So the main thing is that you rising high on the 7, 5 on the left, 2 on the right, representing. It's best to have them together, obviously, because you don't want to, have them divided. But, again, we're not going to be petty. 5 on the left, 2 on the right, that represent the 7 ether planes and the 7 creative spirits, the Elohim, and, 5 that fell to the earthly realm and the physical plane, and the 2 that held firm because they were ever strong, So that's going to be universal as long as we just rising high on the 7. But how ones do it is going to vary.
Okay.
If you ask me how I do it, I raise it up at the 90-degree angle. The mathematics is perfection, right? So 90 degrees represent 90 degrees perpendicular to the earth, more as upright, independent, and fearless. So that's how I demonstrate it. But again, I don't sweat anybody if they're not. If they ask me why I'm doing it that way, I'll let them know. If they think it's cool, they want to adopt that custom, they're more than welcome to it.
Got you. Okay. Now, as far as the so one thing that stands out a lot when people complain about the temples is the singing, right? So it's like, we were just going to church, man. If I could have stayed in the church if I wanted that, But from the way I see it is, the singing and the songs are important. It's the motivation, it's the vibration, and
Mm-hmm.
it keeps people, calm, and and it, I would say it helps with, I would say, meditation, if you will, right? So like an
Right.
open eye meditation, and like just getting in the mood, in the zone, so to speak.
It raises the
So
vibration.
right.
So the tonality, it sets the tone. As you said, it keeps you focused. It keeps you locked in on the agenda.
Hmm.
You know.
It's
Indeed.
like,
Islam.
yeah, I mean, we Moorish Americans, you know, and we have a long-standing tradition of griot, whether it be singing, whether it be poetry, whether it be, these are traditions that have been handed down from our ancient forefathers. We did it all through slavery, and within those songs, every nation has their songs. Every nation has their songs.
Mhm.
Why would we be a nation without songs? It clears the ethers before things starts, and like the brother said, sets the tone. So I seen someone just put Vicar
Yep.
into the same demonstration as Vicar, and you dealing with uh, resonant frequency, right? Which is very important. We all getting on the same frequency. So those songs, like the brother said, are putting us in tune. And so that is a tradition. Just because we Moorish Americans don't mean that we leave everything that we were doing and adopt some weird, strange culture. No, a lot of that comes with us, all the positive. And if it's negative and there's some good to it, then we alchemize that as well. Now, what happens is when there became divisions within the Moorish Science Temple of America, you had those who specialized in certain things. And as they began to develop temples, that's what they focused on. Some were more of that administrative aspect of the temple. So when you see their temples, they're going to have a real tight administrative program. Their paperwork's going to be on point, and it's going to be running like that. Some left more with the spirituality and the ritual. Not to say they don't have an administrative aspect as well, but they left with that ether. And so that's the ether that you're going to get from those temples. And that's why it's good to travel around to the various temples, and see the traditions that they preserve, because when you do that, now you get a full picture of what the temple is like. You're only getting a fraction of a picture of what the temple is like when you isolating yourself from other Moors, because some groups are holding on to certain traditions. And there's nothing wrong with the gospel. There's nothing wrong with singing the gospel, whether it be Dhikr, whether it be Namye Rinko, whether it be the humming of the Buddhist temple. There's always sound and resonant frequency that's connected with it. And that's just our tradition and the way that we've done it.
Mm. Okay, that's peace. So now, we spoke about the singing, and now I don't know if you can go into MIT. I don't know how, your demonstration, your temple organization does it, but how is it? How do you get requests? No, how can I say this? How do you become a part of the MIT, Mufti in training? And then I'll just tell you my experience, right? So someone requested that I become a part of MIT, Mufti in training.
Mhm.
So what I did was I went out to New Jersey, and a lot of Moors were there, and it was just so smooth as far as the teaching. It was like security, right? But it wasn't like the military, like the army, but it was sort of like the army though, right? So, but it was like in a smooth way it was done. I don't want to like go into too much detail. Let's just say, for instance, it was hot in the place we were in, hot, right?
Mhm.
We all had suits on. We had to stand up for a long period of time and
Endurance.
listen. So how is it done in your demonstration?
Islam. So some people use the term mufti, others use warden, vestryman, which you'll see on the back of the 101s. You know, you're gonna stand a lot being a mufti. Like you standing when I was young, I mean, I might be posting up for like 3 hours straight while somebody's speaking, and I'm just standing up there. You know, I'm waiting. I'm thinking it looked like they about to end in 5 minutes, and they go for another 30 minutes, and I'm just. But
Hold on, I don't mean to cut you. Is that the psychology with that? Like,
well, it serves two purposes. Number one, it's the discipline. It's the discipline. You know, if you're gonna be a mufti, if you're gonna be dealing in security, so to speak, which is what it really breaks down to, and protecting people, protecting property, protecting the prophet and the temple, you wanna be disciplined. You want to be as disciplined as other people that do the same thing that are disciplined. Often people come from military background, law enforcement background, or martial arts background, and are some of the teachers in these things to make sure that you can secure your people, because we got families, men, women, children. You see these days, people assassinating people, right? For their beliefs and for what they're saying. It's not nothing new. They've been doing that. And so, yeah, we have to prepare. And so posting up is one of the main aspects of being a mufti. There's other aspects, as you know, you want to be able to defend yourself. You want to be able to, even more important than all of that is being able to observe and report and recognize what you need to recognize. Again, yeah, I can't go off into the training, but what I can tell you is that the standing is definitely a part of it, but it serves a couple of purposes, because while you're standing there and you're posting up, you're usually in the most important places, and you're getting to hear things that other people are not able to hear, that's shaping your understanding more so than others. That's one of the fringe benefits. Again, I told you earlier, when people would come down, they would request the Moors in California. I did security for people like Kwame Ture, Lane Brown, Erica Huggins, even with Brother Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., different delegates from Brazil and Africa and other nations. And I learned a lot doing that. It's a funny thing, because after I completed my 7 lessons and I got my head shaved and got my fez, this was the thing we did. We have in Los Angeles Moors Day, and this is a Los Angeles holiday. The proclamation was signed by Mayor Tom Bradley at the time. This is how long it was. This was, I believe, 1987 is when he signed the proclamation. And so every year for Moors Day, the Moors would go on the steps of City Hall and would feed the homeless there, because the homeless would gather around the City Hall. So my first mufti post was going and posting up on the steps of City Hall and feeding the poor. And at that time, the police came and was trying to move us along. It was like, no, you can't do that. Moors have been doing that for years, but these guys got it in their head they're going to make the Moors move and do whatever. And I was told I had to stand my post. No matter what the police say, I don't move. I just stand my post. Eventually, I end up going in with the delegation of some of the higher ups, the Grand Sheiks and stuff at that time, to go talk to the mayor. And I was posting up outside the mayor's office, And when the Moors came outside the mayor's office, that the police were told to leave us alone and let us do our thing. And so I went back out and I happily posted up again. So it's those kind of experiences that when you're a part of the Mufti force, that you get to see Moors in action and Moors being respected, and having a sense of manhood, you know, that's added to you. So I just wanted to share that little piece. It is a very important training, but also the experience being out in the field is also learning in the field is very important as well.
Got you. So now, okay. So once you become a mufti, right, or a divine minister, how is that? How is that path? Well, you already explained. How is it chosen? I would say, or
You can
get.
request it or be requested.
Okay, okay. Now, once that happens, what's next? Do you get paperwork? Do you get more lessons? And
You go,
then,
yeah, you go through training,
Mhm.
and you complete your training. You get your certificate, and you get your post. And then you holding the responsibility of that post as a chief mufti, assistant chief mufti, and muftis up under them. You know, so if
and,
one can't, oh, go ahead.
and now, is this for men and women?
hmm Yes, well, in our tradition, men and women, although there are some limitations on the woman side of things, and there are some limitations on the man side of things. For example, sometimes we have an event and people may need to be frisked before they come in. It's not all the time, but sometimes that is the case. So a man isn't going to frisk the woman, and a woman isn't going to frisk the man. So that's why it's important to have women on the Mufti force, excuse me, to deal with the situations that involve women. If you need to ask a woman to leave or something like that, or escort someone off the premises because they're doing something they shouldn't be doing, then you need to have women in those positions. The training is very similar, but not the same, because we have to cater to the character and the creation of each person, the masculine and the feminine. So there's going to obviously be some differences in that training, but yes, both are employed in our tradition. In some temples, the women are not a part of the Mufti force.
Okay. Okay. Now, so once you go through the Mufti force, you get your lessons. After you finish that, you get your certificate and things. What is the process to become like a Grand Sheik, get your own charter and stuff like that? Can you talk about that or no?
Good
Yeah,
question.
I mean, you know, I spoke on it roughly on the other show, that there's a curriculum. There are things that you want to make sure that you know, like the Divine Constitution and Bylaws, nationality card, 101 questions, you know, all of the things that you need to be familiar with to teach and deliver the message. That goes for a sheik or divine minister. Divine minister also um, take on other aspects such as knowing how to minister, counseling, things of that nature, and they're taught by those who are adept in these fields. We specifically make sure that ones have prerequisite knowledge in these fields, as opposed to just throwing anybody on in any position so that we can say that we have positions filled. Divine ministers have to deal with families, you know, they have to deal with man and wife and issues that may occur. So it's specialized training, but there's also say, for example, divine ministers need to know how to perform a marriage obligation rite. They need to know the difference between marriage and obligation. They need to know how to bring the children in the world and what rituals to say during that process, and what documents go with that process, how to prepare those documents, and how to seal those documents so that they can be used to protect our members in society, in the greater society, you know, which goes into the religious identity documents that are necessary to protect members and to claim members into the society, so that they don't have to have the same documents that civil society has, which some of those are often in contradiction to our way of life. Not all of them, but some of them. But when you're self-governing as a religious society or body politic, then you do have the ability to create certain documents and certify those documents when needed from, say, the civil government.
Okay. So now, a study group to study. So study group, creating a study group to eventually have your own temple. Is that the path? Is that how it goes?
It depends. If it depends on who you're dealing with. You mentioned charter earlier, and there's two ways to have a temple. One is a subordinate temple. Well, they're all subordinate temples, but one is a subordinate temple without a charter, and then there are branch temples with charters, and there's a difference. Even just lawfully and legally, branch temples are considered a branch. They carry the same liability as the mother temple, whereas subordinate temples have their own liability. So say, for example, a subordinate temple that is not a chartered temple, if they were to get in some trouble or be doing something, then it wouldn't affect on the branch or the branch temple, because they're not a branch. So there's some differences there. Ones can have charters if they're interested in being a branch temple. That's what the charters are for. To start and create a temple, and this is another thing that this guy was trying to talk about, that he just obviously because he hasn't been a part of the movement, doesn't really understand that all temples have study groups, and you start with a study group because you just don't slap no temple together. The study group is to make sure that everyone's prepared, and within that study group, once you have at least 7 good members, a part of that study group, they're ready to hold offices, and you can see that according to chapter 47, that they know how to open their meetings, and that everything is, they know the laws, they know how to govern, they know their fiduciary duty with dues and emergency fund and all of these things. Now you can, in a sense, upgrade them to an official temple, where they will carry on official duties. In the interim, they're learning, they're in a learning process, and so they're not under the same expectations of a legitimate temple. Once they or an official temple, I should say, once they become an official temple, then there's going to be obviously a lot more scrutiny, and they would be open to reprimands if things are going wrong, or maybe even losing their temple if they're violating the laws, which doesn't occur often, but sometimes it does. And of course you have to have that, because you can't have temples running around doing any type of thing that's reflecting bad on the overall movement. A lot of times you'll see out here, it's a lot of subgroups that don't have a genealogy to the Moorish Science Temple of America at all, but they've jumped up and they started doing something, and it's important for the public to know the difference. Doesn't mean that they're bad. They could be doing good, right? But there are customs and usages, and I keep saying customs and usages because things, in order for things to be lawful, they have to be done according to the customs and usages. And if they're not, the government knows what the customs and usages are. So if you're not doing it properly, you're not going to get the same result. Your stuff isn't going to be accepted, and you might even get yourself in a world of trouble.
I got you. So would you consider that to be renegade, or like a renegade temple?
I mean, people use a lot of different words. Renegade is one of them.
Clandestine.
It is. Like I said, if they don't have a genealogy, this is different. On the second level, aside from the study group, you may have a group of sheiks that decide, hey, you know what? We want to form this temple of ours. We're adapts. I have a charter, so on and so forth. Things may not be going right over here in this situation, and they're saying, well, look, we can't stay with the dirt, so we need to go do our pure and clean demonstration. And in that case, chapter 47, key 12, they form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, in conjunction with the prophet and his temple, the grand major temple that the prophet founded. And so that's there also for those who already have sheikdom and want to start a temple. And in that case, they would need to know what type of lawful paperwork that they would need to file in order to establish that and decide if they want to be a subordinate temple with a charter or without a charter, if they desire a charter or if they don't. So there are a couple of ways to do it, but the wrong way to do it is to just jump up, think because you're smart, maybe you have a PhD, maybe you don't, and you've been studying the literature, which is online out there now, and you think that you're ready for it and you just jump up and do whatever you want to do. Well, the proof will be in the pudding as to what you do. I mean, I can't say you don't have a calling from Allah, but you don't need to call it Moorish Science Temple of America or anything related to it if you don't have a genealogy connected to it. But people do it, and sometimes we've had temples in the United that have done that, and then they came and they were able to get it straight. Like, hey, we've been doing this, we just been doing this on our own. How are we really supposed to be doing this? And then now we're in a position to aid and assist them and help them establish their demonstration according to law. So
bingo, NYP more is coming soon.
Praise Allah. Praise Allah. We here for you, family.
Now, hold on. Did not point at one individual. The show was only 1 hour. I see you chose to act like you didn't know of me and of what? Who is that? Islam. What you mean, this guy? I don't know what you mean, brother.
He must think I'm talking about him. And brother, I'm definitely not talking about you when I say this guy didn't know this and that. I'm not referring to you at all. The person who I'm talking about, they know who I'm talking about. And that's why I didn't mention names, brother. So if there's any confusion, trust, I'm not talking about you, beloved, at all.
Now, Sham God King, who is Cosmo L under which Supreme Grand Sheik?
Yeah, so when people ask questions like that, we're not under a Supreme Grand Sheik. We have National Grand Sheik, and I'm the National Grand Sheik. I was appointed by Shahid Ali Il, Adept Grand Sheik out of Chicago. But as far as Supreme Grand Sheik, we're not under that body. We're not under that jurisdiction over there.
Gotcha.
We work with other Supreme Grand Sheiks. I've been on some of their other shows. I've been to other temples and things of that nature that you can see me all over the place dealing with these brothers and sisters. But as far as Supreme Grand Sheik, I'm the National Grand Sheik, and we don't deal with that title because there's really only supposed to be one Supreme Grand Sheik, and there's a bunch of them right now. So if it's Islam family, all is well, beloved. I see you, RG Moore Network. All is good. See, that's love. But as far as Supreme Grand Sheik, that's a title where there's supposed to be only one Supreme Grand Sheik. But because the Supreme Grand Council has broken apart, there's a bunch of Supreme Grand Sheiks. So it doesn't make sense to now become another Supreme Grand Sheik. But I deal with, I'm in good standing with Supreme Grand Sheik Prather Il. We're in a good standing and relation with one another. Braswell Bay of Temple Number 1 is ask Ace Damu Il about Cosmo Il. If it's the ink, you can ask Brother A. Hopkins Bay, the Assistant National Grand Sheik there, about Cosmo Il. So if you want to vet who I am, go talk to the elders. Don't talk to people that's just members. Go talk to the Supreme Grand Sheiks. Go talk to the Assistant Supreme Grand Sheiks and see if they have an issue with me. And I think you'll find that they'll tell you I'm upright, 90 degrees, and I don't go for none of that mess.
All right. More as we have work to this platform is the key. Thank you, brother. Is that Amazite? Brother Amazite, if that's you, let me know. Real quick, I want to give a special shout out to my brother Roy Bay in the building. What's up, Roy Bay? What's going on, Roy Bay? I know I've been knowing Roy Bay for a long time. That's my brother. Amazite, yeah, yo, Amazite. What's up, Amazite? Amazite was on last week. Peace to Amazite. I was like, yo, who that looked familiar? Peace to Amazite, New Orleans in the building. We got Roy Bay, we got Queens / the Bronx in the building. With that said, thank you for coming out, brother Cosmo L. You cleared these were all my own personal questions, just to let you know. So I hope we clarified a lot. We have how the Moorish Science Temple functions 1, 2, and this is the final one. And then we're gonna move on to some other subjects. I think we got a big one coming in a couple weeks, man. This is gonna be a wonderful build. I want y'all to. I'm not gonna say what it is. Just know. I'm not gonna say what it is. We got a wonderful build coming up, man. You're gonna love this, man. On the 29th, I think it is. 29th. I think it's the 29th. I think it is. Let me just make sure I'm right and exact before we close out. Yes, it is the 29th. It's going to be a 2-hour podcast. The National Grand Sheik Cozmo L will be in the building and some others. On that note, thank y'all for tuning in. I really appreciate y'all.
No doubt. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe.
Yes, Islam for the Moors.
Platform, brothers.
Peace. Thank you. Peace.
Peace.